Sumita ma'am, you're live. Please proceed.
A very good afternoon to all our dear viewers. This afternoon, we are yet again before you all through Global Education Training Institute for a live talk show. And we have invited a very eminent personality from Hyderabad, Miss Gayatri Kumar J. Please join me in welcoming her. Ma'am, you're most welcome this afternoon for this talk show. And
Thank you.
before we proceed further with her presentation, I would like to introduce her to all of you. She is a certified freelance master trainer and hails from Hyderabad, Telangana. She has worked with STII and Infologic Institute as consultant, business communication, and communication trainer. These institutes conduct training in English, communication, and skill development for college students. Ma'am Gayatri has also worked with Siksha Shri Educational Consultancy as a trainer for basic and advanced consultancy as a trainer, advanced English spoken camp, and held by TSWARO, the state government of Telangana, for the tribal and back community school students. She has actively participated as an English language soft skill trainer, etiquettes and topic wise trainer with various institutes at Hyderabad. She has shown interest and a need to conduct spoken English classes at home at various levels, beginning right from housewives to IT and other senior professionals. Ma'am Gayatri has also taken voice and accent training and soft skill training by IBM Global Services Private Limited. She holds sessions and has an expertise over motivational and self improving skills, communication skills, public speaking skills, personality development skills, body language, self awareness, to name a few. Gayatri ma'am, you're most welcome this afternoon. And the topic that she is going to deliver her presentation is effective development of communication and soft skills in kids with non-English background. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you very much, Sunita. That was very crisp and a very good afternoon to all the viewers. And yes, uh, we are going to share information about finding solutions for those kids who come from a background where they do not have even an iota chances to speak in English. Especially these kids belong to the rural areas of India. Now, uh, just to run a crisp talk about communication in English, today's generation and today's time has made it mandatory, or should we say it has become a very, very must and should for everyone to communicate in English, because that is one and sole English, that's the only sole language which is universally spoken, understood by anyone and everyone, especially at workplaces and institutions. Most of the curriculums today are coming in English. And yes, people do find speaking in English as a mark of respect and a grace. So today we will go through few interesting points. So today I'll be sharing points where you can, those who are training students from non-speaking English background students, you could use these tips. It could be anybody, let's say a trainer like me training rural students in NSDC or any of those centers, could be women training women from the rural areas of Anganwadi where they can train their kids. So it could also be a charity you do at home, sitting home, helping your maid who doesn't know English at all, as she too comes from a non English speaking background. So, our next slide says, let's see how it says. So, why learning English from roots is important. Now, English, any language. Now, when I say over here, particularly English, that's because we are speaking about the language English. But honestly, any language where when we speak, including our mother tongue, we start speaking right from our childhood, making it very flexible for us. As a young child, any child, they're muscular. You know, this we have something called the vocal muscular flexibility. So the vocal instruments used to speak English or any language, especially in English, what do we stress more on? More that we need to stress while speaking English is to open our mouth. The non-speaking English kids are very conscious, and because they speak most of the time their mother tongue, could be Hindi, Telugu, Marathi, Gujarati. Most of the Indian languages don't need opening their mouth using all the tools like the palates, the upper palate, lower palate, the cheek, the air fillers, the teeth, the lips. So these are the gadgets, that English uses full and fledged way. Now, um, as a young child, it is very important to start speaking English language because at a very young age, because it helps them to nourish and give very good massage to all these instruments that we have collated, especially for the pronunciation, because that is an age where kids get to adapt any new language at a very fast pace. And adoption of words. So certain words, like for example, a single simple word. You ask a person to, there's a confusing words to be more precise, rural and ruler. Now, many kids, when you ask them to say ruler, they say rural, and when you ask them to say rural, they say ruler. So these are confusing words. Why? Because of the pronunciation. It needs more of your tongue twisting word. We call them as a tongue twister words. So you need to start adopting words and sentences which are quick and easy to be understood. Now, when we speak to these kinds of kids who are the rural kids with the non background where even the parents don't know how to speak English, those kids need to nourish more and more, and they need to actually attend certain institutes or interact with people who are English speaking. Okay, and they need to start picking up words and get get to starting using those words into their day to day life. All right, and making communication very easy, especially English. This way, what happens, words play a vital role. Now when we say words, um, I'm sure many trainers who are online, many of us, let's forget about trainers, most of us have struggled a lot finding good vocabularies. The moment people say that I want to learn English, I don't know English, the first thing that comes to them, the two things that comes to their mind, number one, oh, I'm so bad with the grammar. And second one, my vocabulary, I don't know vocabulary at all. So there's nothing to worry about these two things. Just you need to start speaking, right? We will see as to how can a kid from a non-speaking background or a family that doesn't speak English, how is it that they can pick up? I will show you next few slides how they pick it up. So and by doing these certain exercises by words playing, vital role in their day-to-day usage, simple words make a lot of difference. And they build a very strong roots on their vocabulary too, because doing and speaking helps. It's like, it's an exercise. You go to gym every day, the more you go, the more number of six packs, four packs, eight packs, and 14 packs you get. So similarly, the more you speak, right, as a child, the more flexibility and flexible you become in speaking up, right? So let's see the next slide, what it says. Now, um, in the next slide, we will see surroundings and co-dwellers influences and its outcome. It is quite obvious that families of these kids are quite unaware of this language. However, there are quite chances that they might come and interact with families on a friendlier note who do speak English. And yes, school being a very, very strong ground for these kids, it would be highly appreciable to make sure that the teachers who are appointed in the schools are always speaking English so that the kids get influenced. Because when they go back home, they shouldn't forget these words. So these are repetitions of words used at school. And listening to it, listening is very powerful tool. I'm sure people will agree with me. So listening constantly to words during the school hours gets into their nerve system, they gets into the brain. Friends, anytime, they do make a lot of difference and they do make a tremendous impact on us. Visitors. Now, when we say visitors, um, visitors could be of many ways, but however, we should, in this case, these kids should be very choosy about their visitors. Let's say they might have had some of, let's say their father is working in some bank as a clerk and he is not too very good with English. However, one fine day they have visitors, let's say the senior manager who's come to get the know-how of the family or for some work. Now these kids can absorb by listening to them very carefully. Now visitors can also be, it's not a mandate that visitors come to our place. In fact, these kids can explore to different places where they can come in contact and listen to people speaking in English. Well, whether having a friend, family, or going to school, or interacting with strangers as visitors, if these things are working, it means you have your confidence level in place. See, any language, you just need to have, you need to have a very good listening skills and absorbing skills, and above all this is an interest. Now, when you start thinking about these words, these kids, when they start understanding words, and then they get into the clarity of thought process. Okay, so this word rural is this, ruler is this. They start making sense of understanding the differences between the tongue twisting words. Okay, and this routine process of absorption, listening, speaking, it becomes a routine, and this helps them to grow groundedly because these kids are learning in a natural form. Now we will see certain tips in the next slide. We will see how is that they can learn easiest way. This the next slide will show us as to what are the points of learning, tips and tricks for these kids. First, we have already discussed listening is the first and foremost tool. Now the question is, listen to what? Listen to people who are speaking in English. It's as simple as that. Now, people, in a sense, needn't be somebody whom you visualize right in front of you or standing somebody next to you. It could also be listening to radio channels. It could also be people, in shows, talks, show talks, and televisions. Okay, and when they do this, what they start need to do is start making note of certain words that they are quite unaware of. Now, picking up these words, they can actually go back to the school or have a mentor and then ask them, what does this word mean? And then get to know about that word. Reading, I'm sure these kids might will have their own books or in English. So reading is again a very powerful tool which not only helps a person to recognize words, but it also helps them to understand the formation of sentences, usage of grammars in terms of tense forms. Many students from the rural areas make the biggest mistake in grammar is the area of tense forms. So these tense forms, what happen is they have to be very observant while reading books. Now, there are certain books online. Now, in today's time, we have um, many people, even in the rural areas, people are using smartphones. So they will have internet, which goes without saying. So in this, when you go to YouTube, there is something called read along storybooks or bedtime stories. Now, there are small short stories where there is a book which shows all the story written, and at the same time, there is a background sound reading out the same story. So now you have to be observant, not only with your listening skills, but also observing the spellings, the sentence formation. So when you are practicing learning English with this particular tool in YouTube, okay, read along books, you have to be very strict, telling to yourself, unless and until I do not become strong with this particular lesson, I will not switch over to another story. Because you have to, again, after 4 5 trials of listening and understanding words, making note of the words which are unknown, getting it corrected from people, all right, these these things really will help them to observe lots and lots of information, right? Um, Now, apart from listening to simple English shows, now these days they have so many channels, Amazon. Um, I mean, like, I'm not so very good with these shows online with phones, but Netflix, Amazon, they keep having very small and simple English talk shows, which are very informative. Now, these kids can watch those, provided they stick to their subject. Singing really helps. Trust me, in my entire experience of 21 years of teaching English to people, enhancing the language, most of them, like I would say out of 10, 6 to 7 people don't know rhymes. They have never heard what is rhymed is a question that bounces back to me. Rhymes, trust me, guys, it is the most powerful tool in picking up the language English because the words used in rhymes are pure and original English. Now, I'm not saying that it's gold or platinum or silver. What I mean when I say original English is there are certain words that we no longer use them, and everybody is behind vocabulary. No, whatever you speak, whatever words you want to use, it's very simple. You can find them in rhyme. Let's say Jack and Jill. Jack and Jill went up the hill to fetch a pail of water. Now, how many of us say the word, use the word pail? Now, Jack fell down and broke his crown. The moment we say crown, we think that he's wearing something on his head like a king or a prince. No, crown is a part of a body. How many of us knew this? See, simple things always have the most important and beautiful things hidden amidst their lines. So start reading rhymes and read between the words and the lines. You can adapt simple songs in a sense. Whenever you hear some jingle in English, you could repeat it and try and understand. Please do not repeat anything unless and until you do not know the right meaning and usage of those words. This is only a misguide if you do not do that. Okay, so it is absolutely a misguiding for a student, and they will be pretty very fast, they will get confused as to understand. Okay, So last time I was told this word is used this way. Now this person is telling me this word to be used that way. But you need to make them understand that it can be used both in both places. Now, in these two places, it could be two different sentences, but the meaning might change, the word would be the same. Okay, so like that observation. There is something called phonic sounds. The phonic sounds is concentrates mostly on pronunciation. Again, in YouTube, the moment you say phonic songs, you get beautiful ABC songs, which are called the phonic songs. Now, why phonic songs? Because phonetic, that is using rich words making sound in English. Okay, so phonics is very, very important if you want to be a very, very good English speaking person or help somebody who really doesn't know English and doesn't come from a very good background and wishes to learn to speak English. This is the route. You don't have to go anywhere because it's a phonic song. Please choose phonic song which has A, B, C, D. A as in a, B as in ba. So many of us say apple or aeroplane. No, it's aeroplane, apple. Now, you need to open your mouth and speak. So, A as an A. So, the phonic songs not only help you to listen, I mean, help these kids not only to listen to the pronunciation, but it also helps them to open their mouth and get the right sound, like A as an A, B as in Ba. So, the phonic song in a very fun way teaches these things. Well, my all-time favorite to many students I have given, it's called ABBA. Now, ABBA has the most beautiful lyrics, and they have this set of songs. And trust me, none of the song is bad because they're all learning curve English. And the best part of ABBA is the English again goes back to the nearest to the origin of English speaking. And the Sound of Music is another movie where you can go to YouTube and say The Sound of Music, all songs, and it will display songs with lyrics. Please understand one thing. When you learn English, you just do not sit in front of a blackboard, whiteboard, and trainer and going on speaking like me, what I'm doing right now, one way traffic speaking, speaking, speaking. No, that's not called learning. Learning process means more of sharing, questioning. Okay, and while you sing, you observe. You will have to observe the words. Now, there are certain words which you might not be able to speech up, but you can park that, keep it aside, and next, after the song is done, maybe you could go back to thesaurus or ask your teacher or somebody who is mentoring you to learn English. So singing also helps a lot. Let's see what is there in store with the next slide, please. So, so far we have done with communication in English for kids. Now, kids from the rural background. Um, One thing that we need to guide them is to make sure that they do not try to put on accent. Accent again kills your language. So kindly do not come up with artificial uh, pronunciations which are not understandable. That makes you a very, very weak communicator, especially in English, right? Now, soft skills. Many of us know what is soft skills. Now, soft skills are the character traits and interpersonal skills. Now, how do I manage myself? How do I balance myself between house and work? It's to do a lot with our own personal behavior. Now, school, yes, we do go there. It teaches us, but home happens to be the first teacher. Now, if your parents are illiterate, it's fine, but at least what they teach in school, if you practice that every day, it is very, very fantastic because your behavior will always help you in growing to what you want to be, right? So, in soft skills, there are certain points, certain skills that we actually need to imbibe in a sense, adapt them, make them part of our lives. Next slide, please. So we will see what topics or what are those points in soft skill that one needs to learn. Now, important points that includes for kids at home are behavioral management. Many students, like it's quite obvious these kids are from rural areas and they are not so very well versed with the surroundings of the modern era and the cities as where we are living. So there is a tremendous behavioral management. Now sometimes what happens is because of their behavioral management which is not up to the mark, they would have, they would have cleared everything, but then when it comes to their behavior, their personal behavior or approach, to be more precise, they would have, flung a big time. So let's say an interview. Now, the interviewer is being very, very subtle, soft with you, but you are very straightforward, you are very rude, your talk is so very rigid that, the interviewer even doesn't want even to listen to you anymore. All right. Don't get into that shoe. Make sure that your behavior management is very, very well versed and balanced. Next, empathy. Many people ask me in soft skills, why does empathy have so much of importance? Now, in villages and rural areas, the most common thing people would prefer is sympathy. Oh no, oh my God, oh so sorry. Arey re, ye ho gaya, wo ho gaya, cha 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 cha. This is what the sound they do. But sympathy only is degrading you. All right. So get into the habit of empathy. Start feeling the same feel that you have for the others, and keeping in mind your behaviors to with them, you should change your behavior and go ahead with the scenario. So change is must. Please don't look around and say, okay, I need to change the color of my wall and do this and do that. No, that's not the change I'm speaking. Change will happen around you only if you change. So non-English speaking students from the family where they are spending a lot, it is very simple that they are, um, they're very conscious about their expressions, right? Then building patience is very important in soft skills, because tomorrow I'm sure you don't want to get into the fist fury with people. And public speaking is very, very important, because when they come to city, they don't know how to speak to which kind of person. And this public speaking not only helps in your day to day life, but it also helps you in your career build, in your education line. Okay, so public speaking is must and should for every child. Time management, this is a very, very crucial and very essential soft skill, is a must. Please ensure that when you ask a person from the rural area to be there at your place on a particular date, day, time, the person should arrive at least 5 minutes and ahead, because they are normally, they keep, like I had few helpers whom I would call and they would say, madam, no problem, I'm just staying 80 kilometers away from your place, I will come, I will drive, I will come by bus. But then what happens is they arrive 2 or 3 hours later. By the time the work would have got completed and I would have got revealed, so relieved. So they don't understand the value of time management. It has to be taught. They understand the time management value only when they have, let's say they have the field sowed, or the field is ready to give the fresh stock. So no, time management has to be taught in order to maintain, manage yourself, your learning outcomes. Teamwork, guys, it's must and should, because it is very tough. I agree that it is very tough for a person to to accept and adjust to people at a various level. So teamwork really helps a lot. And last but not the least, there is a special word called the special. Now, the special word says shake hands. Now, when we shake hands, now that we are in COVID, not many people will share hands. But over a period of time, we are very, very, Indians are known to forget things. Okay, so we forget, we have forgiven many cases against top-notch people and personalities. So this tells us how we need to shake hands. Now, shaking hands could be like, somebody holding your hand completely and just daga 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 shaking it. They're just trying to fiddle around or play with you. But when you have a proper grip of talk and you have a proper handshake, it shows the confidence in you. Posture. Now, in soft skill, posture plays again a very vital role, because let's say you're crouching or you're bent or you're just like, droozing off and sleeping, and like suddenly comes someone sees, and then what is it? You need to keep your posture so comfortable and straight that people do not underestimate you. Please maintain eye contact. This is a very, very essential part of soft skills. Now, in soft skills, because it's to do with more of understanding, analyzing one and another to do a business or to solve a particular situation, um, posture and eye contact plays a very, very vital role. Now, in eye contact, make sure that you speak to people like I don't see anybody around, but still I am talking to you all. So this is called connecting during this pandemic situation. Now, charm. Many people mistake charm as beauty or looking handsome. No, you don't even have to smile, but then your face looks very calm, soothing, and smiley. So that's a charm you need to maintain. um, Introduce oneself as a very essential one. You need to learn how to introduce yourself in just a minute, 1 minute. If anybody gets a chance, guys, you need to be very strict about 1 minute process. Now, only if you are able to come to the point on time, we will be able to take you. All right. Now, introduce oneself. Ask a question. This helps a lot. Now, when you start asking questions, what, why, when, where, how do I use these words? That is again a curve of learning English. Now, when these kids ask you question, please do not avoid it. Do not say words like, oh, you don't even know this? Oh my God. Please help them to understand that particular word, that sentence. Okay. And then when when you're telling them, when they ask you a question, you're giving them the answer, they learn by listening to you. So please be a special person for a special child who comes from a background who doesn't know English. Help them to not only communicate, but also build a very strong personality. All right. Now let's get into the next slide. Next slide, please. That's it. So question time. The next slide says question time. So see, it's very simple for these kids. I have given this session today looked very small and crisp because it's to do with more of giving somebody a life, giving somebody an opportunity to speak in English, especially the rural kids. All right. So if anybody has any questions, you're most welcome to ask me any doubts pertaining to today's topic. Yes, Sunita.
Yeah, ma'am, thank you. And very aptly pointed out by you in your talk that how the surroundings and the co-dwellers, they influence the outcome and the entire development of any particular individual, be it your family, your school, your friends, the visitors at home. They all definitely lay a very they may lay a positive, or they may drift you towards the other side also. And I have one question, ma'am, for you.
Yes.
How can these soft skills be developed effectively with those kids who do not have an English background, those who have, seen a lot knowingly or unknowingly, they develop the rough edges in their nature, in their character, in their attitude, in their behavior. How can that be smoothened, and how can we help them gain confidence not only in academics but otherwise also in their life.
Wow, okay. That's a pretty good and a very interesting question, especially with the rough edges of it. There's a simple word that I would start this answer with is awareness, being aware. Okay. Now it is quite likely, as I said, that we cannot make our time going exclusively out of the box, leaving our work and going to the rural areas to help kids, right? Now, when we come across these kinds of kids, we need to be aware about their presence and we need to start observing them. When we observe them, we will get to know which areas are very rough, like the areas of development, where the areas where they need to develop. Now, try to interact with them in a very grounded manner and make them realize that we are trying to help them and then point it out in a very empathy way. Now, I hope you remember there is a word called empathy that we use. Now, empathize. Now, when you say, Are, you don't know, oh, I'm so sorry, don't sympathize saying that you don't know this. Empathize. Okay, you don't know, no problem. There you are softening the rough edges. So, moment you're doing that, you're not only building their confidence, you're also winning their confidence. And that way, anybody and everybody can become a teacher for that student. And the student, in turn, from this non-speaking English background, they will automatically inculcate the interest. When you push this information in a very constructive way, saying that I'm trying to help you to build you to a better person. All right. So you can give them
Exactly.
examples. So you can give them examples of personality. Maybe you could start questioning them. Again, question plays a vital role here. You can ask them, who is your role model or who is your favorite actor? Start with that topic. Oh, let's say in South, the very famous actor is Mahesh Babu in Telugu industry. So you can start, oh yes, he's a very good actor. He speaks wonderful Telugu, but do you know he also speaks fantastic English? Do you have seen his personality? Not only in screen but also off screen, he's very well reserved and he's very particular about his time management. He's very good with this, that. So you can focus, make the child focus on their interested personality with these points of and relate it how they can be that. And I'm sure everybody wants to be the Salman Khan or Amitabh or Mahesh Babu. So when you start telling them that bhaiya this is how it is done, I'm sure, so that's when you have started crushing down the rough edges of that student. So first point, first, awareness of where the student stands. Second, start polishing it slowly and don't scratch, just go very smooth and empathize. Please do not rush. When you rush is when they get scared. It's something like, you're trying to catch a beautiful rabbit and you suddenly run and it runs away from you. No, just make it a very slow approach. First, please always make them realize you're trying to help them. You're not insulting them, because these kids from the rural areas, they are very offended. They get offended very fast. They're very offensive and very overprotective. They know only sympathy. They don't know empathy. So first, try to empathize yourself, interact, and bring that awareness. I'm repeating the word awareness in between you and the person whom you're looking to help from this particular background.
Definitely, ma'am. And I believe that everyone would agree to it that how positive use of the language also, affects the entire grooming up of the child. If a child, whatever he knows, first try to you know positively influence the child in such a way that when we talk about the things that are known to him, he gains confidence. When we bring it to the limelight of others, that this particular child, okay, you know this, But then I think somewhere you need to know more about this. Instead of,
Yes.
pointing out the things in a negative way, we can try to find out, as you said, the areas where we need to work out with the child, and then put it and place it in such a way that he gains confidence during the whole course. uh,
Yeah, that's we call
Very
it
well
as
said,
area
Amber.
of improvement.
Yeah, definitely, ma'am. And thank you for sharing your views, ma'am. And we hope we'll meet once again with you with yet another topic, interesting topic taken up by you. Dear viewers, that was Miss Gayatri Kumar from Hyderabad, who shared her views on soft skills, how these soft skills, which pertain to the outside world and include communication and mannerisms, and how life skills that deal with inner world and shape up a healthy mind, a healthy attitude of an individual, how effectively she delivered her talk on this and gave us all a beautiful insight into this very interesting topic. Thank you so much, ma'am. Dear viewers, it's good evening from all of us now, and hope we'll meet again, yet again, with another interesting talk show. Thank you so much.
Happy evening to everyone and Sunita. Bye.
Bye.